to be alongside my guy, CBS lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones, and the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. Fellas, this was the game plan that you put out in front of Seattle as their winning formula. You control the clock, you run the football, and you continue to operate at the elite level of defense that you have to this point. I do want to start on the defensive side of the ball here, Mac. How are they so effective in limiting what has been the most potent offensive attack for the last month in the NFL?
They were the more physical group from start to finish. I mean, it felt like Seattle defensively, guys, they were playing at a different speed than San Francisco offense was. And it started with the guys that put their hand in the dirt. The front seven was outstanding for Seattle. I talked about getting pressure on Brock Purdy. I talked about sacking Brock Purdy. Well, they did both things for the entirety of the ball game. 3 sacks on Brock Purdy, and when they were not sacking Brock Purdy, they never allowed him to get comfortable. When you look at Brock Purdy's night, I mean, it was below average, to say the least. I mean, he had 127 yards through the air, but the most glaring stat associated with Brock Purdy, he averaged 4.7 yards per pass. That's below the mark based on what he's done in weeks past, and that tells you how outstanding Seattle was in not allowing Brock Purdy to go through his progressions to be able to be a more aggressor of the thrower and throwing the football down the field. So they had a great game plan in play for San Francisco offensively, and they made sure they did not allow the big three from their offense to get off: Brock Purdy, CMC, and George Kittle.
They bottled up CMC, right? I mean, he only had less than 60 scrimmage yards in this game. They made him the focal point.
Yeah.
Because when you look at this, this was a one-possession game up until midway through the fourth quarter, more or less, or at the start of the fourth quarter. And what you have with the San Francisco 49ers, 12 rushes total. Christian McCaffrey, his longest run of the night, 5 yards. And so you're talking about one of the best defenses in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks performing as one of the best defenses in the NFL in a playoff-like game, right? It's not win or go home. It's win and get next week off and have everyone come to your place and not get on a flight again until you come back to that stadium in February. So this was a fantastic performance by a defense that I know we talk a lot about the Houston Texans. We have talked a lot about the Denver Broncos. But what this defense did tonight is what they have been doing, and we're all waiting on the clock to strike midnight and us not believing we're going to get to Sam Darnold and us not believing in the Seattle Seahawks because it's not the Legion of Boom and we don't have some nickname for this defense. I'm telling you what, they are arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL.
They certainly are, and they look that way tonight. Mac, you said playing at a different speed. This was a different offensive output than we've seen from San Francisco, not just this year, but under Kyle Shanahan. It ties their lowest point total on a Kyle Shanahan-led San Francisco team during his tenure there. It's also the first game this season without an offensive touchdown. Seattle's defense has allowed 10 points or fewer in 3 straight road games, but as you said, Jonathan Jones, ain't no road games from here on out as they secure the 1 seed and become champions of the NFC West. Let's talk about that run game and the offensive performance. Sam Darnold, 20 of 26 for $198. Was super effective when called upon in the pass game, but this was a run-first game script for Seattle.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it was a run-first game script for Seattle because, first of all, they probably are a run-first team. Now, they have an Offensive Player of the Year candidate in Jackson Smith-Njigba, and so you want to throw him the football, and they do that more than they throw to anyone else. But what was the game plan going into this game? It was about controlling the clock. It was about limiting the possessions for that firepower offense that you have with San Francisco. They only had 8 possessions. You hope that your defense can stop them on third down. That's what they did. And so what do you need to do if you are the Seattle Seahawks offense? You run the football, you play the clock, you convert on third down. Tonight, against the Niners defense, they went 6 of 13 on third down. They had 3 conversions on 3rd and 9+. 2 they got honestly, 1 they got on a defensive pass interference. That was a true DPI, but nonetheless, they were able to always extend their drives, and that meant keeping Brock Purdy off of the field. That meant keeping, more importantly, Christian McCaffrey off the field. And Sam Darnold made no mistakes. Sam Darnold played a mistake-free ball game where he did not have to throw for 400 yards. He didn't have to put up MVP-like numbers. This was all about just winning this football game and kicking your feet up next week, watching the games, and then tuning in to watch CBS Sports HQ to break it down. And that is exactly what they got out of Mr. Darnold.
And the most impressive thing that I watched with Seattle was their ability to stay patient with the running game and not try to get cute. Well, they got cute during the first offensive drive. 1st and 10 inside the 4, you decided a play action pass. But outside of that, they stayed within the game plan. And because San Francisco could not stop the run, they were like, we're going to keep running the football. 39 rushing attempts. Kenneth Walker jump-started the efforts. He averaged around 6 yards per carry. Zach Charbonnet came in. Those two guys coexist nicely in the backfield. And because of that, San Francisco allowed a season high on the ground, 180 yards total from Seattle. That was a great game plan. And I can tell you this much, guys. They were able to run the football the way they did without their best offensive lineman in Charles Cross. What happens whenever they're all having all hands on deck mentality? And to your point, JJ, because of this win tonight, everything in the playoffs got to go through the 12. You know how difficult it is to play there. So if this running game can stay the course like they did tonight, that sense of balance for their offense, it makes Sam Darnold even that much better because he doesn't have to be an aggressor at the quarterback position. Just make the routine plays happen routinely like he did tonight. Allow the running game to do what they've been called to do, and the defense will finish the rest.
Looked far more comfortable in this moment than he did a year ago in an almost exact moment. And it does feel like meat was even left on the bone. A couple of missed kicks, and B-Mac, you allude to that first drive where it's 3 or 7. So you're talking about 9 points, maybe 13 points that this Seattle offense left on the table. So even room to even tune this thing up further. It is a franchise record 14th win here for the Seattle Seahawks, and Sam Darnold becomes the 5th quarterback all time with multiple 14-win seasons. It is rarefied company. Mahomes, Brady, Manning, Montana, and now Darnold. We'll see if he can get to the mountaintop the way that those before have, but there are questions on the San Francisco side moving forward as well. It is now either a 5 seed or a 6 seed depending on LA's outcome on Sunday. JJ, I want to go back to the physical toll that this sort of football game took on San Francisco when you project them to the wild card round.
Yeah, because the NFC teams will not be playing on Monday night. The extra day is going to go to the AFC North team. So they're going to be in the 4-5 matchup on Monday. And so you anticipate that the Niners could actually turn around if they get the 5 seed. Well, they get the 5 or the 6. They could wind up playing next Saturday. That is well within the realm of possibility. So, yeah, it was a tough one, and hopefully they're going to be able to have Trent Williams back. Again, you get a guy that big at his age and he gets a hamstring, that's going to be impossible to come back from in 1 week. We'll see next week, right? You hope that Ricky Pearsall, who is limited this week, is going to be able to show up and be available that upcoming week because, you know, Kendrick Bourne, he had that incentive package, and he hit it a couple weeks ago, had another incentive. He got 1 target tonight. They bottled up Christian McCaffrey. Now, you can have a game plan, but you need dudes. You need personnel to bottle up Christian McCaffrey. And so there's not a blueprint that the Seattle Seahawks put out there for everyone. Everyone needs Seattle Seahawks players and the guys who are calling the plays. But as far as the 49ers, I'm not overly concerned about them because they lost this game. I thought they were going to lose this game. I didn't think that Sam Darnold was going to play a terrible game. And so what wound up happening was the Niners, with all the attrition they've had, got beaten by the better, healthier team.
5 seed will get you the winner of the South, that being Carolina or Tampa Bay. A 6 seed will present you with either a trip to Chicago or Philadelphia. Far different than putting your feet up with a 1 seed and having it run through Santa Clara. And it all came down to the Seattle defense on Saturday night. 14 wins, the new high water mark, as the 12s will welcome all this postseason in the NFC. More to come here on CBS Sports.